Hello guys, welcome back to Go Discs. We're still ranking new series of Doctor Who, of course, and we reached series 10 from 2017, the last series for Stephen Moffat as showrunner, and the third and final series to star Pierre Capaldi as the 12th Doctor. The only series to star Bill Mackey as Bill Potts and Matt Lucas as Nardole. Just Nardole. So, in a way, this is the Bear Capaldi series, in my opinion, of course. It's a mixture of the two, really. You sort of get what his characters like at this point, really, and it works. You know, it's like the character balance. You know, you get his darkness, of course, absolutely, but you get that little fun little side you get in series 9, really. But it's a nice little decent mixture, and Capaldi excels in it. He does, absolutely. And we get a nice bit of different varied adventures, really, in this one, which is decent. It is. So obviously goes up with a bang, and in a way, really. But it's a really good series. You know, considering it's his final series. For both Capaldi and Moffat, of course, they sort of go out with a bang. I'll get into the little whimper when we get there. Well, there we go. So we up with Return of Doctor Mysterio, Christmas special from 2016. There was no series in 2016, there wasn't. Class replaced that, and what we got as a Christmas special, really. It's a homage to Christopher Reeve's Superman, Richard Donner's Superman, of course, or the late Richard Donner. And it's a nice little thing, actually. It's, you know, it's not Christmas related at all, actually. It's just basically Doctor Who does superheroes, really, you know, for the old, you know, the Detective Comics way, really, like a little homage to that, really, with the ghost played by Justin Chatwin, who actually appeared in the Sun Tower and Stratagem Poison Sky, if you remember, as Lou Rattigan. Yes, and it's good. It's decent. It's not the best one, I would say, but it's a little decent one, I would say. The next we'll go is the first episode of the series, which is the pilot, introduces Bill Potts, of course, and yeah, it's decent. It's a nice little funny nice little go roundabout, nice little introductory story. It's like a little key story, it is. You know, like, it's sort of tongue-in-cheek in terms of the pilot, like it's a pilot for another series, really, like it's a fresh start. Even though we got the fresh start in series 11 with Chimmel and Whittaker, really. But it's a nice little fun run around, indeed. It's just introduced Bill Potts, really, and her relationship with the Doctor and anything else, what the world she's entering to, really. I've always had, you know, the chase scene I've always enjoyed, really. You know, basically with takes them to TARDIS, they end up in like a little cafe somewhere in Australia, and then go to this planet, like we're in this planet in the middle of nowhere, like no one's going to find us there. And then cuts through like a Dalek ship with Movellans being shot at, whatever, interestingly. But it's a decent little opener, it is, you know, it's a good start, actually. Episode 2 is Smile. This is written by Frank Cotter Boyce, who ran in the Forest of the Night. It's decent. It's all right. Again, nice Sean Valencia, but it's decent. It is, absolutely. The first episode was written by Stephen Moffat, of course, same with Doctor Mysterio. Obviously, he returns. It's better than in the Forest of the Night, I would say. It's his best script, it is. And, yeah, I was quite surprised, actually, like, he was returning. It's like, wait, what? But it's like, you know, tying up loose ends, of course, in many ways. But there we go. But it's a decent one, it is. The ending, it's a bit rushed, I would say. A bit rushed, actually, but there we go. Episode 3, Thin Ice, is written by Savage Dollard. This is set during 1814, during the Frost Fairs. Again, decent one, actually. Nicholas, whatever his face is, famous actor, plays Sutcliffe, of course, gets punched in the face. Quite, actually, a pretty decent performance for him, actually. He's always decent stuff anyway. That's him in a few bits and pieces. And, yeah, it's actually pretty good. Nice to see Capaldi in Period Club. Very nice. You know, it sort of harkens back to that, you know, with maybe like with the first Doctor, really, in a way. Not too sure if there's any other Doctors have done that before. I think it's just harkens back to like Harlo's era, really, when he's like, you know, he'll have his own clothes, really, of course, his own outfit, really, but sometimes he'll adapt and change into like stuff like the Romans or whatnot, or maybe it's an example like the Mask of Bartholomew's Eve, I think. Maybe. But it's good. Decent. Next up was Knock Knock, written by Mark Bartlett, who actually ran Prince Charles, I think, was it Prince Charles III? Something like that, actually. Like an alternative version of no, actually King Charles, that's it. Like if Prince Charles actually became king, and what would the repercussions be, or something like that, if you've ever seen that. It's alright, actually. David Suchet is good. Builds on the atmosphere. Not as good as Ghostlight, I would say, because Ghostlight, you know, it's like the weirdness out of it. Really, it's just like a typical haunted house runaround, really. But it's alright, it's decent. Oxygen is next written by Jane Matheson, episode 5. Really good one, very good tense. Summer Space Station, of course. Zombie-like creatures, of course, like a star of oxygen, that type of thing. And do with capitalism. Really good. And the Doctor gets blind at the end. So yeah, and that leads into the other stories, which is, right, I'll probably say, so episode 6 is Extremis. again, written by Stephen Moffat, introduced the monks, of course. We get introduced to the whole thing with the Vatican and everything else, which is interesting. The whole thing about the Veritas. Again, interesting stuff. The monks look interesting. They do interesting designs, of course, but I think I'm not very utilised, and same goes to the other two stories, really. But it's interesting. Also, we get a reason what was in the vault, of course. If you haven't noticed, there's a little story arc involved with the vault, with the Doctor being a lecturer in St. Luke's University in Bristol, which is actually filmed in Cardiff. It's Missy, she's imprisonment. Of course, the Doctor's keeping an eye on her, really. And yeah, but it's a decent one. It's a very decent one, actually. It's a standalone thing, of course, like a prequel to the two-parter we get anyway. So yeah, it'd be interesting. So yeah, despite simulation of the monks, of course, trying to invade Earth, like planning to invade Earth. So there we go. So 7 and 8 really. I saw like a two-parter. I think people count this. A lot of people count it as a three-parter really. I saw it count as like a two-parter really, in a way. You know, Pyramid at the End of the World, written by Peter Harness and Stephen Moffat, and Lie of the Land by Toby Whithouse. So I think the problem is, you know, Pyramid at the End of the World, it's actually a pretty decent story, very accomplished shot. Everything else is interesting. The whole thing about like a virus trying to, you know, plague the Earth, and actually the monks like, we're here to help you really, make it better and sort this stuff out really. Interesting. How interesting. Bit of like a weird little foreshadow really of world events, current world events really. But yeah, pretty good stuff. I really enjoy that. Lie of the Land. I'd probably say this is the weakest story out of the bunch, really. I mean, this is one of the weaker ones out of Series 10. The problem is, you know, it has a built up a good setting. You could probably say it be like Turn Left or something like that. It could be something like that. You know, instead we briefly get that, but it's thrown away. They go into a ship or something. The Doctors pretend to be in league with the monks, of course. And there's a fate regeneration, which is cringe as fuck. We don't need that. And you know, and basically Bill using her mother's memories or something like that, you know, like, you know, to use love and save the world. It's like, come on, you know. They didn't really fall for better resolution, really. I think, oh, Whithouse. I think that's sort of give you the word expectation, like, no, it's not very good, you know, like, you know, maybe trumped his idea for a successor, really, for Moffat, really, but who knows. So there's that. Empress of Mars, written by Mark Gatiss. The Return of the Ice Warriors, pretty decent. Anti-Calf is in it. That's good. Zulu Warriors on Mars, interestingly. And yeah, I thought it's a decent little one, of course. A little reference to Frozen there, really. Gatiss. But it's lovely, decent. It's filmed in natural caves, it is as well. So yeah, nicely accomplished shot. So it's a decent one. People like that for nostalgia, for the Alpha Centauri cameo at the end. I think that's why people love it for. There we go. Episode 10, Eaters of Light, written by Ron and Monroe, who were in Survival back in season 26. Again, it's another weak one, really. You know, nicely shot, I have to admit. Interesting idea about the Ninth Roman Legion, of course, but well, disappearance of the Ninth Roman Legion, and it's like, it feels, I don't know, a bit underwhelming, anyway. And doesn't really do much. I mean, it's like, it's the filler episode, it's before the season finale, so you can probably get that. You know, it's like a bit of a slow stretch, really, anyway. It's filmed nice, interesting concepts, but it doesn't really deliver as much, really. You know, Survival's better, hands down. And we finish off with Well Enough in Time and The Doctor Falls. Again, you know, to end off Capaldi's tenure. Brilliant stuff. Very dark. The Return of John Sim, which was unfortunately leaked beforehand, actually. I think before the series had premiered, I think. And but really good. I think down to his characterization of the Bastard is actually better under Moffat's tenure. Less manic, more laid back in a way. More laid back, very into, you know, again, pure evil, but very much like, you know, quite laid back in a way. And costume-wise, brilliant, of course. Redemption of a Missy, she gets killed at the end, of course, and yeah, there we go. And a brilliant end for the 12th Doctor, of course, you know, plus blowing off Simon and everything else and on the ship or something, and, you know, it's really just brilliant stuff, really, you know, brilliant end to his tenure, like goes on and Blaze of Glory, indeed. And that was meant to be it, actually, but unfortunately, like I mentioned before, we have the whimper to go through, which is Twice Upon a Time, also known as Tuat. If it's, you know, if you spell it out, if you look at it, think, oh yeah, I get it now. So Tuat. So Tuat. I'll just call it Tuat, actually. I'll point down the comment, you know, for it is Tuat. It's one of the most Doctor stories I've seen, actually. You know, it's a bit of a the whole thing about with David Bradley. On paper, sounds like a good idea. you know, and he looks good, fantastic. But the material he's given is really horrible. How Moffat treats the first Doctor in that story. Bill doesn't really need to be there, really, because she had a good ending anyway. It's sort of a decent ending. And Capaldi's there, and we got Return to Rusty. The whole thing about returning, like the whole, was it like the place where the Chula spaceship from the Image Child and Dr. Dances comes from, like from that planet. And, you know, Margate is as the grandfather of the Brigadier. You know, it's all this sort of like fan wank stuff, really. I mean, it's tying up his era, in a way, a little bit. Clara's briefly there. Looks pasty and looks fake. Absolutely look like John Comer's like, just looks disinterested, really, just briefly. And yeah, it's just not the best, really. It's not a good way to end off your tenure. And Jesus Christ, it definitely is. No one, you know. So yeah, so Twice Upon a Time, funny enough, it's quite twat indeed. So there we go. That's Twat. My thoughts and feelings on Twat. There we go. That's not the best. So that's it. That's Series 10, Capaldi's final series, and Moffat's final series as well. And then Chibnall took it over, and there we go. I'll probably give my thoughts on series 13 when it comes out in the specials, whenever. But there we go. So there we go, guys. Series 10 from 2017. What are your thoughts? Thank you guys for watching. As always, see you for the next video. See you later.